I already know this script is going to be grueling to write out. I'm going to struggle to express my emotions and thoughts using the right words in a coherent way. But I feel like it's been a rather long time since I've felt this type of experience from a story. Something that has left such a polarizing but powerful impact on myself, alongside providing an emotionally jarring journey that drags you deep within its own murky waters. An experience that has to be witnessed for oneself. That this video can only hope to provide even just a fraction of what it truly has to offer, and it easily and undoubtedly can offer a life-changing result. For someone like myself that is extremely new to a webtoon series, I've only read one whole story before this, which was Sweet Home, and funny enough, it's by that very same author. It's rather early for me to say, but I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if this story is considered peak webtoon, meaning that it would most likely be difficult to surpass or maybe even just come close to what it has to offer, and the beyond memorable experience it burns into you. This webtoon would be known as Bastard, and a lot of you have recommended it to me over the past following weeks. Originally, I thought this series only had 10 chapters, so I was surprised to see the massive impression it left on people for something so short. However, after reading those 10 chapters, I realized I was actually close to 100, and I was more than relieved, because the opening of this story is extremely brutal. It doesn't hold back in the slightest, which seems to be a running theme with this author, alongside it being wholeheartedly addicting. There's something inherently special about how the author and artist work in perfect harmony to create such an emotionally mesmerizing experience, something that shakes you to your core and probably haven't felt all too often from many series. The writing or the overall architecture for characters, emotions, and relationships is brilliantly crafted, and the art brings that to life to paint some gruesome, sickening, but unforgettable panels that linger in your mind. From chapter 1 all the way to its ending around 94 chapters later, it's a stressful, tension-filled, viciously obscure pseudo-game of cat and mouse, a deathly battle of wits, manipulation, emotions, and clashing mentalities between a father and his son. With the opening out of the way, let's take a journey through the narrative of Bastard, a gritty webtoon that shows the inner horror of warping children at a young age, and the steps that said child takes to potentially break free of his continuing nightmare that his father has weaved, an uphill battle that balances on the edge of freedom and death. Bastard follows the story of Jin Seun, a quiet, mysterious teenage boy that's living a completely different life than one could ever expect. He would be raised and manipulated from a young age to be an accomplice to his father's sick desires. Dongsu, a highly successful and well-respected individual that flies well below the radar of the prying eye. Dongsu would use his son Jin to manipulate unsuspecting women and bring them into their home, using a number of friendly tactics to lower their guard, as both put on lovable personas that are easily approachable. Once they have gained the target's trust and invite them into their home, Jin would use a sledgehammer, heavily wrapped in bandages, to knock them out, so his father could take them away and torture them to fill his gruesomely sick fantasies. However, Jin would meet someone that gives him a reason to oppose his father's deadly wishes, a transfer student known as Kyun Yoon, as he would eventually become closer with her and start to slowly experience a small slice of a normal high school life. Before long, Jin's father would become interested in Kyun, almost obsessed, as he expresses his wants to rip her away from Jin to fuel his cruel cravings. This would kickstart a brutal and deadly conflict and interest, as a cat and mouse-like game would begin between them, all while Jin struggles to break free of his father's corruption and seek out a bright new beginning for his already darkened and stained life. Bastard does a phenomenal job in reeling you in so quickly, right from chapter 1, as it's almost instantly that you get introduced to the sick fantasies and the twisted mindsets of both father and son, how they connect to one another through ruthless murder, how they go about their everyday lives, and the massive contrast between them. Jin's father constantly wears an appealing and approachable personality that gives him limitless flexibility and reliability if faced with any difficult situation, while Jin on the other hand is cold, heartless, and has a warped perspective of people through experience and trauma. As much as the relationship and dynamic between this is vitally important to pushing the narrative forward, the backbone is the personal time we get with Jin, as we slowly get to see him open up and have a small taste of a normal life. This doesn't come easy or quick. If anything, you can tell how stunted and traumatized he truly is, just from how intelligent but inexperienced he is naturally with people and their emotions. His knowledge towards a teenager growing up and learning about themselves and the world has been completely ripped away from him. The meaning of friends, love, pleasure, the small but important details that allow children to grow into flourishing adults. The focus on this, what would be the normal learning curve, plays a massive role in understanding Jin's progression and gives us a scary depiction of just how mistreated he has been since a small child. Being an accomplice to his father's murders has rotted parts of his brain and has made him deeply sick. So when he starts to experience these normal slices that are unknown to him, like his first friend and even romance, he starts to evolve and subconsciously starts to rip away from his father's clutches. Because of all of this, the dynamic between father and son and the cat and mouse game they play is powerful. How intelligent his father is, how he manipulates people and events to gain the upper hand to either stop Jin in his tracks or paint him to be unstable and insane. All while Jin is trying his hardest to become mentally and physically stronger to eventually face his father and kill him, something he has been thinking about for some time now. Unfortunately, Jin isn't the healthiest person, having heart issues and a glass eye thanks to a severe accident he had as a child. But this and the safety of Kyun kickstarts his struggle and fight to continue forward, even while knowing he may too have to pay for his crimes at some point. For me, Jin is the perfect, sad example of a character that is so broken, manipulated, traumatized, and corrupt, fighting back against all those ingrained concepts and trying to be a better person. The way he's handled is tragic, but beautifully done, where you can't help but feel sorry for the disgusting life he is forced onto him at such a disturbing young age, fighting and grabbing onto small pockets of hope and happiness that's completely new to him, which makes for the ending of the narrative borderline perfect. Obviously, his father is what made him this way, being referenced as a demon, someone so evil and sinister mixed with intelligence, a dangerous combination that can't be broken, as you never see his father express his nervousness or anxiety, someone cold and calculated to the core, a natural-born psychopath. When it comes to his father, everything about him screams psychotic, obviously because of the things he does, but also how he jumps between personalities, how swiftly he manipulates people and plans ahead, to how far he truly goes with getting his own way, making sure that nobody finds out or ruins his ideas by creating the perfect plan to execute. It's a terrifying thing to witness. You can never read his mind or figure out how he will react or what he will do next. This tailors back into Jin's approach as he tries to weave around his father's intentions while avoiding conflict that could get him easily killed. The saddest thing for me is how powerless Jin is to his father, as his father spreads this subconscious, intoxicating fear that destroys any sort of rationality from anyone that treads on his path. As the cat and mouse game becomes more intense, his father doesn't hold back and appears out of nowhere, causing Jin to have the self-realization constantly that his father is completely unpredictable, and that if he wants anything to go his way, he desperately needs to stay one step ahead at all costs. It's a rooted struggle of power and intelligence that goes far beyond coherency, all while outsiders step into the firing line that his father takes it upon himself to remove in one way or another. Now, similar to Sweet Home, the art does a phenomenal job in capturing every emotion that's portrayed to whatever length or degree and amplifying it by 100. This is utilized the best when it comes to Jin's fear or psychotic nature showing, and when his father is beyond twisted and horrifying. The range for this, however, is extremely impressive. It's almost like you could have no words throughout the whole story and tell everything through facial expressions. You'd 100% understand clearly clearly what is going on, what's coming across, and how characters feel. Because of this approach and the level of detail, basically every single chapter holds some gruesome perspective of a character and their sick emotions leaking out. The big moments, however, is where it hits the hardest. The overflow of feelings, the confrontations and clashes of ideals and mentalities. These are the things that have massive power and influence over you to burn itself into your memory. To wrap this video up, Bastard is undoubtedly a masterpiece for myself. It's such a visceral experience that really can't be described on how it impacts you. The best thing you can do is read it for yourself and witness just how beautifully tragic but well handled everything is from start to finish. Even now, for some reason, I've struggled to write this script. So I hope, even if it's just a little, that the video has enticed you in some way to hopefully give it a chance, so yourself can understand how heartbreaking and powerful Bastard truly is. To bring this video to a close, let me know if you have read Bastard, or if you're interested in checking it out. Also, if you have any other webtoon series you'd like for me to read or make videos on, definitely let me know, or like the comment that has your recommendation. I'd love to hear your thoughts. With that being said, I hope you all enjoyed, drink plenty of water, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.